Hi, everybody. Welcome. I have a note here telling me to make sure my microphone is turned on because at the 7 p.m. show, I gave my little introduction and somehow managed to not turn my microphone on. So everyone listened very patiently in silence, and my father had to call me in order to tell me that I was not being heard whatsoever. But I think it's on. I think you can hear me. Hi, welcome. I am Joshua William Gelb, for those of you who don't know me. And this is the Late Show here at Theater in Quarantine. It is Thursday, April 23rd at 9 p.m. Thank you so much for joining me here in my studio apartment in the East Village, where I've been alone for a little while, and where 4 weeks ago, after we received the stay-at-home orders, I began converting my closet, which you can see behind me, into a digital white box theater, which I'm calling the Theater in Quarantine. The project has been dedicated to the idea that we don't have to sacrifice the integrity of the theatrical experience just because we're creating work online in isolation. Now, if you've seen some of my earlier videos, you know that I've been playing with some really exciting tools that transform this very simple utilitarian space, which is exactly 2 feet deep by 4 feet wide and 8 feet tall, into what I hope could be an aesthetically dynamic and creatively versatile performance laboratory. And what began as an entirely solo venture is now expanding to include a wide array of remote collaborators. And we've been working really hard to get to this point tonight, which is our second live stream ever. I'm hoping there'll be more to come. Some obligatory self-promotion. If you enjoy the performance, please subscribe to my channel so you're updated whenever there's a new video. And feel free to share any of my videos on your platform of choice. Tonight's video will not be up until next week, so congratulations on being here and seeing it live in the moment. I want to thank you all again for making time tonight. And I want to thank my choreographer, Katie Rose McLaughlin, and sound designer, Gavin Price, who helped me put this piece together. What you're about to see is a new adaptation of a Kafka short story called The Neighbor. It was written in 1917, and well, I felt it was a fitting story for this moment, which, between the stay-at-home orders and the social distancing and the seemingly impossible attempts to collect unemployment, feels particularly Kafkaesque. So let's get started. I am going to take a brief 1-minute break so I can get into places. The piece is just 12 minutes long, and afterwards I'll be back here to answer any questions you may have about the piece or the process or the project in general. You can just throw them in the comments section. So sit back and enjoy Theater in Quarantine's The Neighbor.
I manage a small I manage a small business. 2 employees with typewriters and ledgers in the front. And in the back is my office with a desk and a cash box, conference table, club chair, a telephone. It's everything I need. Easy to inventory, easy to manage. I'm young and business is good. I don't complain. I don't complain. But ever since New Year's, there's this young man who rented the space next door, which stupidly I hesitated to rent it myself. There was 2 rooms just like mine, and also a kitchen. I could have expanded the business, and then my employees have fussed about the workload. But what would I ever do with the kitchen? This particular concern, the obvious cause of my reluctance. So now, this young man sitting there, his name is Harris. What is he doing? I don't know. The door reads Harris Inc. I asked around and was told it's a business a lot like mine. Young man, lots of ideas, might even have a future. No red flags to warrant a loan denial or collateral to certify approval. Just usual information you give when you know absolutely nothing. Sometimes he passes me on the stairs, Harris. Always in a hurry, always very formal. I mean, I haven't gotten to meet him, but his keys are always in his hand. And in half a second, the door's open. Like a rat's tail, he slips in, and once more, I'm slammed in the face by Harris Inc. Which are words that I've read a lot more often than they deserve. Awfully thin walls in this building. Walls that betray the honest and shield the fraud. My phone's on the wall that separates me from my new neighbor, a detail I only mention as a particularly ironic fact, since even if it were on the opposite wall, he could still clearly hear everything I'm saying. I've given up calling my customers by name, though it won't take much to guess from all the usual jargon turns of conversation. Sometimes I dance around, anxious, phone pressed to my ear, tiptoeing, knowing there's nothing I can do to keep any of my secrets safe. Naturally, all this has made my business transactions a bit irregular. My voice keeps seizing up. What is Harris doing while I'm on the phone? If I really wanted to speculate, it's just something necessary evil. I would say Harris doesn't even have a telephone. He uses mine. He's pushed his couch against the wall and just listens. So when the thing rings, I'm the one who has to walk over to it, accept the customer's requests, make serious decisions, carry out large-scale operations, and all the while involuntarily reporting to Harris, sitting there in the next room. I bet he doesn't even wait for the conversation to end. He just gets up whenever he's been sufficiently tipped off. Scurries through the city the way he does before he'd even hung up the receiver. He's figured out maybe a dozen ways to destroy me.
I manage a small... I manage a small business. 2 employees with typewriters and ledgers in the front. And in the back is my office with a desk and a cash box, conference table, club chair, a telephone. It's everything I need. Easy to inventory, easy to manage. I'm young and business is good. I don't complain. I don't complain. But ever since New Year's, there's this young man who rented the space next door, which, stupidly, I hesitated to rent it myself. There was 2 rooms just like mine, and also a kitchen. I could have expanded the business, and then my employees have fussed about the workload. But what would I ever do with the kitchen? This particular concern, the obvious cause of my reluctance. So now, this young man sitting there, his name is Harris. What is he doing? I don't know. The door reads Harris, Inc. I asked around and was told it's a business a lot like mine. Young man, lots of ideas, might even have a future. No red flags to warrant a loan denial or collateral to certify approval, just usual information you give when you know absolutely nothing. Sometimes he passes me on the stairs, Harris. Always in a hurry, always very formal. I mean, I haven't gotten to meet him, but his keys are always in his hand. And half a second, the door's open. Like a rat's tail, he slips in, and once more, I'm slammed in the face by Harris, Inc. Which are words that I've read a lot more often than they deserve. Awfully thin walls in this building. Walls that betray the honest and shield the fraud. My phone's on the wall that separates me from my new neighbor, a detail I only mention as a particularly ironic fact, since even if it were on the opposite wall, he could still clearly hear everything I'm saying. I've given up calling my customers by name, though it won't take much to guess from all the usual jargon turns of conversation. Sometimes I dance around, anxious, phone pressed to my ear, tiptoeing, knowing there's nothing I can do to keep any of my secrets safe. Naturally, all this has made my business transactions a bit irregular.
My voice keeps seizing up. What is Harris doing while I'm on the phone? If I really wanted to speculate, it's just something necessary evil. I would say Harris doesn't even have a telephone. He uses mine. He's pushed his couch against the wall and just listens. So when the thing rings, I'm the one who has to walk over to it, accept the customer's requests, make serious decisions, carry out large-scale operations, and all the while involuntarily reporting to Harris, sitting there in the next room. I bet he doesn't even wait for the conversation to end. He just gets up whenever he's been sufficiently tipped off, scurries through the city the way he does before I've even hung up the receiver. He's figured out maybe a dozen ways to destroy me.
Hi, everyone. How are you doing? Sorry, I'm going to have a drink of water. And then I'm going to have a drink of bourbon. This is the strange moment where there's like a 15 to 20 second lag between what I'm doing and what you're seeing. So actually, you are just now seeing me start this post-show discussion. But in like 15, 20 seconds, you will then be seeing me now talk about it. So thank you again for coming. I'm absolutely happy to address any questions or thoughts you might have about the process of putting all of this together, the project itself, Theater in Quarantine, or this piece specifically. Anyway, I'm going to jump into the comments here. I'm so glad you all came. This is an amazing group of people. I love you all. As you can see, I'm sitting here in the closet. It looks remarkably larger on camera than it is. Katie Rose, the choreographer, Katie Rose McLaughlin, kept on saying, yes, but can you do a 360 holding the chair? And I always said, no, I can't. There is no room for that. But we have questions now from Renee. Hi, Renee. How did you do that? How was it live? Yeah, it was all live, everything. So we're working with a program called OBS. It's an open open platform for streaming. It's really fantastic. It's free. And what we realized is that there's a delay function that is usually used to sync up audio with lagging video. And so we just put two versions of the same source next to each other and used that function to get a delay, which is how we did it. Aaron asked, how does it work? Which maybe I guess I explained that. Yeah, so we're using that platform. OBS is wonderful. They've got another program called Streamlabs OBS, a little more user-friendly. I'd say OBS is more for the people who want to get into the nitty-gritty and the programming, which takes a lot more time than one would expect. It's kind of fascinating working this way, where I am my own technician right now. I redid the closet entirely myself, and with the help of some really amazing artists giving me their advice, am able to kind of split my time between figuring out how the programming works and how to actually build the pieces. J-Ball. Hey, J-Ball. So the process, yeah. Can you tell me about the process? I've seen snippets of your videos, and I feel this started as an exploration of gravity, and how did it evolve from there? That's a really fascinating question. Okay. Water, bourbon. It wasn't necessarily an exploration of gravity specifically. I think what ended up happening is I'd always thought it would be funny to do theater in the closet before all of this happened. And something sort of compelled me to gut it and clean it up, thinking maybe it'd be something I would do when this was all over. I think it'd be hilarious to cram as many people as possible in there. And so ultimately I got in and realized that the aspect ratio is a little bizarre and not that interesting. And any time I tried to just perform in the space, it was not something I was proud of. And so I started playing with gravity and the camera orientation and trying to find ways that live performance can play into and work with the tools that are at our disposal in terms of video and projection and orientation, and in this case, duplicity, or not duplicity, duplication, multiplicity, but kind of duplicity also. So that's where we found this piece. There's a bunch of different pieces. Because this is our first time with OBS, we actually built it all in that program. I don't think I'd ever do that again. I think I would probably use QLab to siphon a more... I'm really comfortable in that program, so I'd build everything there and then siphon it into OBS. We didn't do that in this instance because QLab doesn't have a delay function. But QLab would let us do all the orientation games that we've been playing with earlier. So I'm really excited to start doing that live. Rehearsal process, yeah. Ryan Frank, hi. About our rehearsal process. So I had translated the piece about 2 weeks ago. I was looking for short stories because I think the closet is really perfect for the short form. And I, was looking through some Chekhov. I was looking through Kafka. Those writers that feel their melancholy seems particularly suited to right now. And brought in Gavin, who I've worked with as a sound with him as a sound designer before, and Katie Rose, who had been involved with the project already. And basically, we would get onto Zoom or Google Hangouts, and I would set up all of OBS so I was able to screen share with them, and they were able to see the exact frame, and in fact see the multiple versions of me, which is how we were able to choreograph for that. And I would use two inputs so that they could see my camera and the frame, and I could also see them because I'd call in with my computer as well. And that's how we've been working. And it's been pretty efficient. I've been talking to a bunch of directors who are having a lot of difficulty figuring out, how do you even begin to stage? And it takes some adaptation in terms of how we communicate. Because we're not present in the room together, there's a lot more having to be very explicit about what you mean. But it has been functional. Ooh. Hey, Brandon Wolf. Josh, can you talk a bit about the technology of live sound, light, other editing? Sure. Well, editing I don't use the word edit here because everything is live and everything is one take. In terms of the sound, this is a more simple project than I think we will be doing. We are ready to start cueing lights, and I have a go button with me, so I can start cueing the whole system from the closet. That being said, for our first outing, we actually just did one track that played right through, and the lighting it flickers because it has opinions on what it should be doing, or I have a faulty adapter. But that's what's happening there. Sound, we will be able to do live sound. I will speak eventually. But for this one, we tried to minimize our components a little bit to focus on just getting the live stream up in the first place. Hi, Alex. You're back. You're back from the 7 p.m. I have a quick question. How did you decide how long of a lag there should be between videos of the neighbors? Again, sort of necessity is the mother of invention, I guess. OBS only allows with a live video feed 500 milliseconds, and so that's the maximum. And I liked it, so we did 500 milliseconds. And it's a great lag because it does let us do some beat work where they are in opposition in a fun way. Would I have been interested in more lag? Yes, but we couldn't do that. Oh, thanks everybody. Favorite brand of bourbon? Right now I'm just drinking Makers. So hi Alex. So yeah, that's what I've got right now. I like a Bullet, of course. Hey, Alex Weston. Alex Weston's here. Alex has been the composer on a bunch of the studies that I'd been doing earlier, and we're going to keep working, obviously. How many string cheeses did you have today? Excellent question. None. I'm out. I have to go on a supermarket run, which is devastating and a little frightening, as always. A lot of bourbon talk on the comments. I volunteer. Renee, hi. Wonderful choreography. How did you work with the choreographer? What's your dance background? I don't know if it's necessary to read out your questions. It feels like a talkback, though, where someone's not loud enough and I have to repeat it. How did you work with the choreographer? What's your dance background? So yeah, Katie Rose and I have worked together a lot, often. I direct, she choreographs together. We've been doing that for years, since I was in grad school, and have worked on many, many productions together. So we have a bit of a shorthand at this point. She's also choreographed me as a dancer as well. Although I'm not really a dancer, I am a physical theater mover at best. But I, studied a lot of commedia, and I have a history with musical theater. So in that sense, you start to pick up a lot, and really, it's been wonderful getting to practice, have a space of my own that I can practice in, which has been a sort of delightful side effect of the entire project. But yeah, we would work on the computer. I would make a sort of elaborate improvisations, and then Katie Rose would respond to those, and then she'd start to build her own material, and we'd work from there. Yeah. And Mike, you are absolutely right. You cannot maintain 6 feet of distance in there. It is impossible. Although I guess if you're all the way in the ceiling, you could, which might be possible somehow. And then you already said that in the comments, so I'm behind. Leanne, time for multiple cameras. Oh, Leanne. Absolutely. Although we'd have to figure out how to use it in a way that I don't know. I don't know if I'm excited about cutting from one shot to another. It feels like I saw Buyer and Seller, and I think they did that to a really fantastic degree. But for me, I think what's separating this from just being a cool video is the fact that we're really forcing a live single take, the sort of feats of liveness. And I would love to find a really cool way to integrate multiple cameras that could still reinforce that idea. How has this piece shifted your relationship with your own neighbors? So this piece happened, I think part of the reason I wanted to do this piece in the first place is the night before I found it, I was, trying to go to bed, and at like 2 a.m, my upstairs neighbor, great guy, was playing the melodica. Yeah, the melodica, this one. And that was a really strange thing to hear. And so no, I have neighbors that have their own idiosyncrasies, but they're great actually, and we don't really have any problems, which I sometimes worry about because if that's the case, it's probably you that's the problem. That being said, during the performance, I don't know if you could hear him or just thought it was Gavin's design, but Nat's romping around up there. He's a night owl, but that works out for both of us. What camera are you using? Hey, Joe Walker. So right now I'm just using my iPhone 7. It hooks up really easily to OBS through an app, through a USB cord, which I find a little more reliable than Wi-Fi. I do have a Nikon DSLR that I may try to use. I'm just waiting for the right adapter to capture card to do that. And we'll see ultimately. It would be nice to have my phone because then I can do things like, send the link to people before the show starts, which I can't do in this setup right now when everything is all set. Hi, Alana. Do you plan to create without a delay and synchronize more? Absolutely. I love the synchronizing too. I've been playing with some chorus line stuff earlier today, just dancing my heart out. So it's a lot of fun. It's a great function. Hi, Lauren. If you already answered this, but are you using only one camera? Yeah, only one camera right now. That's it, and a delay function, which allows us to kind of separate them, and also I'm inverting one of the shots. Hi, Gall. It's been a long time. Do you think live synchronous performance with performers in different locations is in your future? Oh, I can't wait. I'm really excited to try. I'd probably try with some voiceover stuff first, and then, yeah, I'm really excited to get someone in this television screen right there that you can see over my shoulder. Absolutely. Is the sound playing directly into the stream, or are you playing it on a speaker and we're just hearing it? It's playing directly into the stream. We use Soundflower. So it's going right from OBS to you and YouTube, which is why it's a fairly decent quality. We'd been trying it on my speakers, and it sounds terrible. Wonderful. Quarantine for bourbon. Yes, Ryan. Mo, when do we see Goose in quarantine? Hi, Mo. Goose, if you do not know Goose, Goose is my brother's dog. And I have seen my brother during the course of the past couple weeks. He's the only person I see. I have a backyard. I'm very lucky, or my building has a backyard. So when the dog parks closed, Goose started coming over to run around in the backyard. Goose, we did try to get Goose into the closet. Unfortunately, Goose really didn't like it. Like, the lights on and everything really upset him. So sad to say, I don't know if we'll be seeing Goose in there in the future. And there was peanut butter involved, I swear. We love KR. Yes, we're not talking enough about Katie Rose McLaughlin, who is the choreographer, and she is doing just unreal work. I love her work in general, and it's just been an absolute delight, and she's been dealing with me whenever I get frustrated with the technology, which happens often. Oh, great. Everyone's talking about line dance. You should go to Line Dance Club on Wednesdays, Katie Rose's feed. It's really fun. I'll be there. I'll be in the closet next time. Let's see. Alex, have you thought about doing a green screen in the closet? Possible. I actually have some green paper. I'm not going to go get it, but I have it, and I'm going to start putting it up tomorrow for another piece, but we'll see. I'd love to see some Artaud in the theater in quarantine. Ryan, you are speaking my language. I'll have to take another look. It's been a while, but that's a great idea. I wonder if he's got some just like notes and stuff. I love notes for things. Yeah, he's wild. Hi, Jessica. What's exciting is that you're finding a quality of embodiment that many fear will be missing if we choose to engage in placing theater on in with the internet. Oh, thank you. And yeah, I think that's my fear too. I love a good play, but ultimately my interest is with physical theater, is with design, is with all of these pieces and elements that I also fear will be lost in the next coming months, if not a little longer. So yeah, that's, I think, basically the purpose of this whole project. Yes, Norman, Artaud, great. Wonderful. I'm just scrolling through these to see if there's any more comments or questions. Thank you. Wonderful. Well, I guess this is the perfect time to sort of wrap things up. Thank you again so much for coming, and I really appreciate all your comments and engagement. It feels... Oh, we got one more from Renee. Oh, line dancing. Katie Rose's feed. Katie Rose McLaughlin. Katie Rose, share a link. I'll try to banter until you share a link. So it's been really great getting to talk to all of you. I'm hosting the Tanks Cyber Tank on Tuesday, the 28th. That's a Tuesday, right? At 4 p.m. So you should check that out on the Tanks feed. I'll be in the closet, running around, doing crazy things. Very excited about that. Also, there's some really exciting projects coming up, and I hope you stick around for them. If you have other ideas, Artaud, great idea. Please let me know. I'd love to talk to you about it. And again, just flagrant self-promotion. If you wouldn't mind subscribing, if you want to see more, please do. Please share all the videos. Again, this will be up next week. But thanks again. Have a wonderful, wonderful weekend. Stay safe, be well, and I really, it means a lot to me that you all came and played with me today. So thanks again. Have a wonderful rest of the night.